This is The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield from the Lynn Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Michael provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to The Wealth Puzzle with Mike and Tana. We're going to cover this real quick. Hey, you know what? It's been a couple weeks. Yes, we got the emails. We had a couple calls. I am so sorry. It's just that I've been hiding under my desk with the Omicron variant.
You have not. No, you have not. No.
We'll talk about that today. You'll notice our background for the people that are watching this on YouTube or Rumble, right? It's the holidays. Merry Christmas.
It looks pretty.
I don't know. You're not allowed to say that. You're supposed to say happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
You know, it's what you're supposed to be. I don't know. Whatever. But hey, Merry Christmas. We do celebrate Christmas here at the Lynn Group. So we're still old fashioned.
Yeah.
Look, I even got my decorations on my desk too. This is we decorate our offices. I don't know if I have any behind me. I got something back there. I don't know. So
yeah, it always looks good.
It's been a couple weeks. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy first week of December here, everybody.
I can't believe it.
Finally getting some cool weather in Ventura, which is fun. You know, feels like the holidays are coming. And I think we're supposed to get a little bit of rain too this week.
Oh,
which
cool.
would be nice.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's been a lot of news. Tana and I got busy. If anything, is Tana's fault. She's too busy for me.
Right? It's true.
And so, we had to beg her.
Lots of year-end
do
stuff.
Another show here.
Right.
But there's a lot going on, right? Ever since we've talked in the last couple of weeks, the stock market has become very volatile. Everybody is scared to death of no one knows how to say it. So it's Omicron, it's Omicron, or it could be Moronic, right? So if you, I don't know who's caught that.
Oh, that is so funny.
You rearrange the letters of Omicron,
right?
It spells Moronic. Now, I'm not going to extrapolate on the relevance of that, but I see some. It's funny. Fun fact. So I was reading about why, because at first when Omicron was coming out, there's already been like 11 variants on this thing, right? Mm-hmm. We haven't heard about them all. You heard about the first one. You heard about Delta. A few people heard about Moo. That was the one that came from the cows. I don't know. It's from animals. So, there you go. And so the next one, before it was official, so this really got hot to trot, like pretty much on Thanksgiving. All of a sudden, everyone's talking about it. The words on CNBC in all caps, horrific. Literally, the word horrific was used. Mutation in COVID. And what are you going to think? You're going to think, oh,
yeah, panic.
It's near here. It's like,
no.
I got to go watch. I got to go, watch all the seasons of The Walking Dead so I know how to react.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? And so the initial data coming out was horrific. And what was funny was the initial lettering they were going to use, because I'm a bit of a goofball. I like to read stuff constantly. And so I catch like the early phases of stuff before then it's like everyone's talking about it.
Right.
And so initially it was going to be called NU, N-U. So that came after Moo. So that was the cow disease. But now it was the new variant. And so I was reading that when the CDC had their official meeting, I think it was on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, not the CDC, the WHO had this big meeting and they're talking about the horrific thing. And so they were going to call it new, but then they thought that was silly because it sounded like literally what it sounds like, the new variant. But like, yeah, I like that. Oh man, hey, that new variant out there. Whew. It seems to roll off the tongue well, but they didn't like that. So then I guess whatever's after that is XI. I think they pronounce it Psi, XI. But the problem that they had in their meeting was XI is also the first name for the Chinese Communist Party leader. And they didn't want to make it look like it was anyway linked to him. Because there's no way it's linked to them. So they skipped that and somehow came up with this new word, Omicron, Moronic, whatever it is. some big giant word. So anyways,
Well, these all sound like they fall in the periodic table, the elements in chemistry. I remember that chart.
I'm not a geologist, so I don't know what you're talking about.
No, never mind.
I'm
Sorry.
not
I just remember it from middle school.
I know what you're talking about. I didn't do well in that class, I guess. So anyways, here we are. We have the new variant. All of a sudden, we had like a double-edged sword of news crisis, right? So crisis one is the new variant is here to get us all. It's literally horrific.
Right.
We'll talk about that in a second. And then on top of it, the feds had their meeting for the end of November, and the feds came out and they said, remember that word transitory? Now, this is weird, Tana. How many times have you and I brought up on this silly little show with our 3 watchers? Have we brought up the word transitory that the Fed brings up and said, what a bunch of BS?
Yeah.
They keep saying, oh, it's transitory. Oh, don't worry, everyone's transitory. Don't worry, transitory. And then last week, they're like, we're going to drop the word transitory. It's really feeling whatever not transitory is
the opposite
is what inflation is. We need a thesaurus to figure out or something to figure out the opposite.
That is awesome.
Which is maybe permanent-tory, long
permanent-tory.
Dairy. I don't know. Either way, the feds come out and they say, oh boy, how do we tell everybody this? This is a little.
Oh, that's funny.
For Christmas, we got you permanent inflation.
That is terrible.
So anyways, inflation is out of control. And so what they're doing
permanent
is they're talking. It's not permanent. It's
I know,
just
but
long-winded inflation.
Okay.
So anyways, I was at the gas station the other day. I paid $5.05 a gallon for gas, so that was cool. I drove by somewhere else. I can't remember where I drove by, but I saw it for $5.09. So then I thought, whoa, I got a great deal. Got mine for $5.05. This is a smoking deal.
It's not a good deal.
9 gallons. It was like $200 to fill up my car or something.
Ouch.
It was an exaggeration. I know. Let's see what it is.
Well, I don't know how big your tank is, so.
Not as big as my head. So anyways, so inflation is a little more persistent than the Feds thought. So what they want to do is they want to speed up the tapering process. Remember, they started tapering last month. They were going to end the tapering program next June and then consider raising rates. They want to do that quicker because the sooner they finish tapering, then the sooner they can raise rates. And so that kind of freaked the market out a little bit because everybody is a drug addicted to cheap, easy government money. And anytime the government limits the supply of money, it's going to drive up interest rates.
Right.
So that started freaking people out a little bit. And then you lump on the Omicron variant, Omicron, someone, I got to say it every which way because I don't know how to say it. And someone will call me out on it.
Yeah.
Mike.
Correct you, of course.
Omicron. You got to roll your R when you say it. So anyway, so then that comes out. So now we have this like trifecta events where, the Dow falls 2,000 points in the last couple of weeks because everybody is scared. Now, are they scared of the COVID variant? No, they're scared of the effect of it, right? The cause and the effect. And so what I thought was very interesting was when you watch the news, what happened? So the original COVID came out, a lot of press releases, a lot of, speeches from the stump of, here's what we're going to do, everybody. Delta came out. There was a little bit of that. But with all the other variants, there's been no discussion. There's never been this like wide stream, there's the president standing up there saying, you better wrap your head in tinfoil or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he didn't say it. Don't hold me to that one. That might have been watching that Skinwalker Ranch show.
Oh dear. No, I have
it's
not.
It's like all like the weird, I don't know. Anyway, probably aliens land or something in Utah. I like a lot of documentary shows. They're just, it's very fascinating how weird this world is. So anyways, but all of a sudden with the Omicron variant, what happened? Here's the president coming out and here's all these speeches and in the pulpit. And now we're back to doing travel bans and talking about, anybody, U.S. citizens coming back into the U.S. need to quarantine. And all of a sudden, all that rhetoric that happened in March of 2020, suddenly it's back in our faces. And people are saying, well, crud, this feels scary. Here we go again. And so it's that cause and effect. If the government shuts things down and slows things down, that has a true drag and impact on businesses and economies and projections of earnings and all this kind of stuff. So, like I said, we like the info here at the old Lynn Group. And so a couple things came out. One is Tana sent me an article literally this morning. But two is on the Friday after Thanksgiving, when all of a sudden this was starting to get a lot of headlines and the word was horrific. I started, you start to get my heart palpitation. It's like too much caffeine, or you're like, oh crap, here we go.
Well,
again.
And you get an increase in phone calls too.
Yeah, it's true.
That doesn't help.
I made the mistake of giving out my cell phone number, so I just get a bunch of texts. I get the funniest text. I'll get them at like seriously, like it'll be like 11 p.m. Saturday night.
Oh dear.
What are you doing to protect my portfolio? Like, I'm sleeping. Sleeping. That's what I'm doing right
it's
now.
The weekend.
Thanks for asking. The look terrible. The see, now I've lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So, anyways, the Friday after Thanksgiving, the main researcher, a lady from South Africa, where this initial outbreak was happening, and it's all crazy. There's so many people. She comes out and has a big article. It's on CNBC and everywhere. I just seem to find so much stuff on CNBC. So I don't own stock in CNBC. I'm not promoting them. You can find your research wherever you want. She comes out and says, wow, this variant's crazy looking. It's so weird with the symptoms. You don't lose your taste and smell, and you don't hardly get sick. It's really mild.
Yeah, very mild.
And says that basically everybody they found with the Omicron variant, they're monitoring at home and nobody's hospitalized.
Yeah, that's great news.
I'm like, fall off the chair when I'm reading this. Like, what are you talking about? We got the government doing travel bans right now, freaking out, and the headlines in the article saying horrific mutation, trying to scare the heck out of everybody.
And also the COVID incidents are based on people that are already in the hospital for like a surgery or some other type of reason.
They find it, asymptomatic.
Yeah, so exactly.
But all the Omicron stuff all of a sudden is very benign. Oh yeah, it's pretty contagious looking. But, you get a little snivelly. Like, I almost fell over when I read that. And then Tana had to make it worse. She sends me this article this morning. Let me throw it up on the screen here. Tana sent me this. I save all my emails to that way when I get audited by the SEC, I can prove that it was Tana sending it to me. So first data on COVID Omicron variant severity is encouraging. Fauci says. Now, I don't know who Fauci is. I've never heard of that person, but they're listed here as an expert, so I'm not sure. You didn't really laugh very hard on that. Normally, you're supposed to be here just to basically verbally pat me on the back with all the things I say. So anyways, what's the highlight reel of this article? Preliminary data is starting to emerge that could give us a clearer picture of what we're dealing with as experts pore over Omicron observations. Anthony Fauci said Sunday that the data is encouraging, but cautioned that more information was needed. That was boring. Where does it say what it said? Hang on. Oh, here it is. Fauci said Sunday, following early figures from South Africa that suggest it may not be as bad as initially feared. Now, that's funny because, like, initially feared, see, the U.S. was the one that made it sound so scary, whereas the people from out of the gates in South Africa were saying, this sucks, but it ain't that bad. Yeah. And, we're doing travel bans and all this kind of stuff. But once again, here we go. It's not very severe so far. Maybe
I think
it turns
our reaction
into something. Maybe, I don't know. But once again, remember, going back to the stock market, what is this conversation about? It's about the stock market. There are two things that drive the stock market: emotions and numbers. And so in the moment, you have to say, is the stock market going down based on emotions, or is it based on numbers? The reality is the stock market has been going down based on emotions, right? What I'm showing you right now, this is all emotional. And if it turns out that as the new variant spreads around and it doesn't cause more death or a significant increase in hospitalization, guess what? Business as usual. We have a vaccine for everybody. We have therapeutics for everybody. We have all of this stuff readily to go. We need to live our lives now. Yeah. We don't get scared every time the flu season comes around. Yeah. So
Our reaction, I think, is wrong.
Great news so far. It's not that big of a deal to your health. I'm knocking on wood because I'll be the one sucker that gets it and dies. But the
no.
At least I admitted it. So, anyways, here's another thing I saw that was interesting coming back to the old COVID. It's kind of, remember the old days when we do Ronanomics? It's kind of that.
Yeah.
Remember Ronanomics?
It's been a while.
How come we don't do any Ronanomics anymore? So, anyways, according to the nationwide blood donor, I don't know how to say this word, seroprevalence survey. I don't know what that is. Sounds cool. As of September 2020, the CDC estimates almost 92% of the U.S. population, 16 and older, have developed antibodies against COVID-19 through either vaccination or infection.
That's great.
Once again, we have to put all the tea leaves together. Where is the stock market going? The stock market is going to go back up, and that's why it's up today, is because as the data comes out and it's kind of like, oh, just kidding. Maybe it wasn't as bad as we thought. Nah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden that drives the market back up. Because remember, emotions drive the market in the very short term. That's what's happening right now. We got a lot of emotions charged in there, but then it all reverts back to the numbers, right? And the numbers are good and bad. I mean, what were we just talking about with transitory, the inflation stuff? Here, I went to the inflation website. I don't know if you guys remember this. I've showed everybody this before. So in 2021, right, that's the bottom line. This is monthly inflation rates. I mean, they're skyrocketing. Last month, it was 6.2%, 5.4. Like, look at the historical charts here. I'll just kind of do from, let's scroll here. I'm up to like 2002, right? I know not everyone can see these numbers unless you're watching the show, but show me another number on here where it says 6.
There isn't one.
You get a 5 in 08. You got a 5.
Which was kind of expected, but
that was like the highest 1 month in 40 years. Just keep going back. I don't see any 6s here. I'm in the 80s.
Maybe in 85.
Oh, finally, we got to them. The hyperinflation.
Early 80s,
late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
So it only takes 40 years backwards to find this kind of inflation. Hence why the feds need to do something. I have said many times I am too stupid to be on the Federal Reserve because I would have started raising rates sooner. I don't know why they're not. It is what it is. That's why we have inflation. They need to get it under control.
Right.
Bada bing, bada boom. On a positive note, since Tana has made this whole show completely depressing.
I have not.
Your presence has.
Aw.
No, I'm just okay. My presence has.
I feel sunshiny today.
The sunshine in my soul today. Whoops, hang on. I'm trying to make this screen bigger. I don't know how. Whoa, geez, what did I do?
Can you drag out the sides?
There we go. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. If anyone can see this little green chart, I thought that this was really interesting because remember, emotions in the moment, financials, big picture. And we care about financials and what's happening with companies. What this chart shows from 2017 is it shows every quarter and it shows what percentage of companies beat their earnings estimates on the S&P 500. This is an important metric that we follow because if companies are doing better than we think because they're beating their estimates, that is a very positive economic outlook from how the health of companies are, consumer spending, things of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Granted, look, everything's good and bad, right, Tana? We can get into debts and government issues and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, look at the last few quarters. Over 80% of companies have been beating their earnings estimates. I mean, even in 19 and 18, when things were booming, you know, they were still beating, but it's the last handful of quarters where they're just crushing it.
Yeah.
And the projection for next year is that earnings look even better right now. These are the things when you boil out the emotions, the fear of COVID, the fear of transitory inflation and all this kind of stuff. These are the drivers of the market. And right now, these underlying tea leaves of economic data say the market is going in what direction, Tana?
Up.
You said it. So hold Tana accountable for that if it goes down.
I'll own it.
Well, I think we're seeing it though, right?
Yeah.
How many times do we talk about
That's a good point.
The fundamentals drive the market, but then any emotional, I always joke like, the next shutdown, the next, if North Korea threw a nuke at us, something like that can cause the market to go down. And honestly, that's what's happened in the last couple of weeks, right? Is we just got the stuff scared out of us.
Right. Again.
On COVID again. Right. And a lot of people, and it's still going on. We're still talking about shutdowns and all of this stuff. And as long as that chaos ensues, it really does hold society back. But the reality is behind the scenes, if you can get off the headline news, companies are really doing well. The end.
That's fantastic. Very good point.
So nice anyways, visual. Tana, give everybody one reason why they should move to Texas.
I really enjoyed out here. I have to admit, great schools.
Okay.
The weather's kind of fun.
We deal with retirees, so schools don't matter. So it's good, buddy.
You'll get a warm welcome.
Get a warm welcome. So actually, it's
great
funny.
Barbecue.
I was talking to someone yesterday who said exactly that. They're like, I went to Texas, and everybody was so nice to me.
It's so true. People are very friendly. I know all of our neighbors up and down the street. It's amazing.
Yeah. There's a thing like right here on the corner of Victoria and Telephone. There's a bus stop right there. And like I drove by it yesterday and there was 5 police cars. And then the day before I drove by and there's 3 police cars. And the joke is developing that if you drive by there and there's no police cars, that's actually the anomaly at this point.
Yeah, that's terrible. I heard of a terrible carjacking in Ventura just recently too as well. They really hurt a lady.
Really?
She's in the hospital. Yeah,
That's
it's terrible.
So weird that people do stuff.
It's a carjacking.
I'm just confused, and maybe it's because I actually have a little bit of moral character, but like, just to me, this seems like there's just so much technology and cameras and tracking your cell phones and all of this stuff that I just don't know how people think they can get away with stuff, but maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah, tragic.
I haven't tried lately, so
never.
Anyways. Happy holidays, everybody.
Hey, I do have one point I wanted to mention regarding Cobra. Cobra can be really tricky because you can have Cobra and Medicare at the same time.
Right.
But the rules get a little different when you have turned, 65. So some people have Medicare prior to 65 due to a disability or some other reason. But once you turn 65, you only have an 8-month window to switch over to full Medicare. Otherwise, you get permanent penalties. So you got to be very careful about that. Also, I had a recent situation where someone's enrollment to Medicare, because they were turning 65 on the same day of the first of the month, right when their Cobra was to go into effect as well.
Yeah.
And actually, because the Medicare enrollment went in first, the Cobra actually terminated automatically, and the client wasn't even aware of it, and so they didn't notify him. So it was a little tricky situation. We got it all fixed and ironed out, but just be very careful because Cobra is not considered credible coverage.
Oh, interesting.
Once you've turned the age of 65, and his was just right on the money. It was on the same day, so it just got a little tricky.
Well, maybe the reality is if you're turning 65, it would warrant just a quick phone call over to us just to check your situation to make sure that you don't have an issue.
Absolutely.
Good common sense. All right. I love it. Hey, thanks for all of our listeners. Everybody that watches the show, feel free to give our office a call, 805-500-7035. If you have questions or criticisms or you want Tana to change her background of her studio or something, visit our main website, thelindgroup.com. Lind is Lynd. Otherwise, everybody have a wonderful week, and we will promise to be back next week. We're back in action.
Yes.
All right. Bye-bye.